Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I am doing something today that is quite unique and I decided to share it with all of you. I have so many materials around me and I'm trying to shoot it so that you can see what's going on here. We'll see how this comes out because I can't actually look at the camera and so we're gonna see. I'm sharing with you a spell today that I actually created for my uncle. I've mentioned this family before. My uncle is in need of some healing, so he had requested that I put together a mojo bag, a gree bag. You call it what you want, but a bag for healing. And I concocted a huge recipe with, recipe spell with all kinds of ingredients of what is going to work for this particular intention for him, okay? And I have a lot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ingredients. It's pretty extensive, but I'm really wanting to hit it with a bang because I don't want to wait any longer. I do want to help him with his health. So I've gathered all the ingredients. I have my mortar and pestle. I've lit a candle for intention. I'm gonna smoke cleanse with this piece of Palo Santo, and then we're gonna get started. I also have a lemongrass incense from Fred Souls, which I've mentioned that I love this company, Fred Souls. I hope you guys can see that. It's something that I'm going to use to also add an additional layer of cleansing and healing, and we're gonna get started. So today, we're going to start with the lemongrass incense, which I have not done yet. And I'm just going to light it. The thing I love about this company with their incense is that, I don't know if you can see it, but it does have this coating of resin on it. And so it burns much slower than most incense do. And I find that to be super beneficial. So we're doing lemongrass because lemongrass is good for healing. I'll just see if this, okay. So as I'm going about, oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of lemongrass. As I go about setting up my space, I am cleansing everything first with the lemongrass, and I'm also gonna go over it with the Palo Santo as well, but I'm smoke cleansing this energy, this space, calling in spirit. And I'm going to focus more on what I'm doing rather than on the video. I may or may not post this depending on how the quality comes out, because I'm not really focusing on videography right now as much as I am on the intent of the spell work that I am doing. So I have this cute little tea mini spoon that I'm going to use that I got from Tamed Wild in one of my kits. So make sure you check that company out if you're interested. And I'm also cleansing the bag. Now the bag does have something already in it, purposefully so. It has a small clear quartz that my uncle actually picked out himself. So I don't want to remove his energy. I just want to amplify the energy, because he handed it, but I will be giving this to him directly and he will be able to actually charge it up more himself. Now I'm just gonna plop the incense on my incense holder, and I'll let that continue to burn throughout doing this process. Now the Palo Santo, this is Palo Santo that I had bought from TJ Maxx from that shopping trip that I did. And it doesn't burn super easily. Sometimes it takes a while for it to pick up the flame. Okay. So I'm cleansing that as well. And it already went out. So it does take some time to get it to smoke the way that it should be smoking. It doesn't smoke very well. So that could be part of what happens because of cheap Palo Santo. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna start. I have to get my notebook. I don't know where I put it. Hold that thought. Where's my notebook? In here? Put it. Where's the notebook? Notebook. In the office. Probably. Yeah. All right, I have my notebook with all of my ingredients that I need on it. This spell is to banish illness, okay? It's to remove the illness. It's a banishing spell that is intended to remove the energy from him that is causing the harm. So because I have so many ingredients here, I'm going to only put a little bit in of each, a little scoop of each in this mortar and pestle, because I need to make sure, like, this bag is not very big, so I need to make sure that I have enough for the mortar and pestle. So the first thing we're going to start with is rose. Just a little pinch of rose. I have dried rose here. We're going to start with rose for calming and soothing, and I'm just going to put in 3 petals of dried rose right into my mortar and pestle. And then we're going to do nettle. Now, we've actually talked about nettle, stinging nettle, before on this channel multiple times. I try to do things in 3s, but I'm only going to do a little bit of each. And then what I do when I'm working on spell work, I like to charge each situation, and I forgot to do that because I was talking when I was adding the rose. But I like to talk to the herb. I like to add my energy to the herb so that it knows, like, this is what you're being used for. So nettle is for healing. Rose is for calming and soothing. So I'm just gonna okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is a little pinch of thyme. And this is just over-the-counter kitchen thyme. It's not anything particularly special. 1, 2, and 3. And the thyme is also meant for healing. So I'm doing so many that are for healing. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is some cinnamon. Now, the original recipe that I took this from, I combined 2 separate recipes of ingredients for healing. And the original one that I took this from called for cinnamon chips rather than cinnamon sticks. But I find that cinnamon sticks are better. I'm actually going to put the cinnamon stick off to the side because in the end of it, I'm going to break it. And I am going to put it to the side because there's a few ingredients here that I want to add after the fact. I don't want to blend them up in the mortar and pestle. So I'm breaking up the one cinnamon stick and I'm going to add it to the bag after the fact. So we did cinnamon stick. The next one is bee pollen. Bee pollen is for speedy healing and speedy healing. It has speedy healing properties. Sorry, I'm reading from my notes. And the cinnamon is for health and speed. So bee pollen, I don't know if it's good to grind it, so I'm actually going to add a pinch of this to the bag again afterwards with the cinnamon. Then we have some sea salt, and I'm actually using my container from Tamed Wild with protection salts. The recipe originally called for dead sea salt for purity, cleansing, and healing properties, but I thought protection salts would be better to help him from the illness to return, to prevent it from returning. So 1, 2, and 3 to help bring in clearing energies, to help prevent him from getting sick again, to continue with purifying and healing for him. The next one I'm going to do is rosemary. I hope you can see this. I don't know where I think my camera's pointed here. Rosemary, I have organic from Walmart, and it's all dried. Everything is dried, but it doesn't matter if it's organic or not. It is better if it's organic. Rosemary is for cleansing. So we're going to do one. I'm actually going to do this one in my hand because I want to grind it up. 2 and 3. That was actually kind of a lot. More rosemary than anything else so far. Then we have, where's my orange? Okay. Then we have orange. Now you can use any citrus. You can use lemon. You can use lime. I have dried up orange peel that I dried a long time ago, and I've saved it. This is to bring in joy and happiness and to continue to fulfill the movement forward, prosperity movement forward, so he's not feeling like he's going backwards. 2 and 3. So I just did 3 little, this is what it's looking like right now. Hopefully you can see that. I just did 3 little pinches of the orange, dried orange peel. The next one I'm going to use are cloves. I'm going to give 3. I have organic cloves, again, whole cloves from Walmart. You can probably use ground cloves as well. I'm only going to use 3. 1, 2, and 3. And that is for healing and protection as well. Okay. After that, we have eucalyptus. Nope, this is echinacea. I can use echinacea. Echinacea or eucalyptus would work. I thought I had eucalyptus, but I guess I don't. I grabbed echinacea instead. So this has healing properties. If any of you are even remotely familiar with echinacea teas and tinctures, it's very good for the immune system. So I'm doing echinacea. And then lemongrass. This is actually my own. The recipe didn't call for lemongrass. There was one spell that I saw that called for lemongrass, but I decided to add this because this is lemongrass that I sell on my Etsy shop that I grew myself in my garden, and I harvested and dried it myself. So it's a little bit from me, more personal from me. 1, 2, and 3. And lemongrass is really good for healing and for purification. So this is what it's looking like right now. Hopefully you can see that. We're almost done. The next one is lavender. This is just in a candle container. That was for lavender, but it's regular dried organic lavender that I purchased. I use a lot of lavender. I bought this by the pound. Lavender is to help with calmness. It's to help bring in gentle healing and love. 1, 2, 3. So it's to calm the energies that are around him that might be volatile. I'm not going to disclose what's going on with him physically. He's not the person that I've referenced as far as cancer is concerned. This is more a daily health concern that we're working on for him. And then the last 2, we have 2 left. We have dragon's blood resin. and then valerian root. So we'll start with valerian root. Now, some of these ingredients, my aunt and uncle actually picked up for me down in New Orleans from House of Hoodoo, which is a store that I love. It's a hoodoo store. So this is what the valerian root looks like. It smells to high heaven. 1. It's meant for healing and banishing. 2. And 3. And then the last one is some dragon's blood resin. Dragon's blood is meant for positive health. It's meant for positive life. It's meant for uplifted energy. It's also meant for protection. So I'm using a little bit of dragon's blood resin. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, because this is a banishing spell, we're banishing the illness, right? We're banishing things away. We're sending it away. We want to grind this. So I already activated intentions for each individual herb, but we're also going to grind this in a mortar and pestle, which you don't have to do, but I find that it really mixes things well, and it also allows that energy to, it's almost like, the way that spirit shows it to me is it's almost like macerating food in a mixture. So like marinating something. Now, because it is banishing, we want to go counterclockwise, which I know to you is kind of the opposite of what I'm doing, but because I'm facing the camera, it's this way. Clockwise is this way. When you are removing anything, sending something away, you go counterclockwise, uncrossing, any kind of removal, protection. But if you're pulling something to you, you go clockwise because it's something you want to create. You bring it to you. So this one, you're going away from you. This one, you're bringing it to you, okay? So I am just going to start working in the intent to bring health and healing, to bring in positivity, to bring in joy, to bring in abundance, to bring in positive luck, to bring in all kinds of good energy to him so that his illness is gone and it is no longer here, and he not only doesn't get worse, but he gets better. He improves. No more illness. No more issues. No more health problems. It's continuing to improve, and he's doing significantly better as the days progress. The more he keeps this on him, the more this will help him. Okay, so this is pretty mixed in now compared to what it was. And I'm just going to go about filling the bag with this. But first I'm going to break up some more cinnamon sticks. Because I do want, those are the bigger pieces, so I do want the cinnamon stick to go, that one's not breaking, to go in for speedy healing. Now, there's a lot of things that you could use for speed, but I do like cinnamon. You could also use coffee. So there's that. And then we're going to do 3 scoops of the bee pollen, 3 tiny spoonfuls of the bee pollen. 1, 2, and 3, because I don't know how that would have mixed up. The bee pollen is for healing. I've also heard and read that bee pollen is good for medicinal healing as well, but I'm not sure how to do that. So we're just gonna do this. And as I'm loading this, I'm picturing his heavy illness to be lifted away. He's feeling more energetic. He's feeling more positive. His body is cooperating. And actually, I wasn't sure if I was going to fill this whole bag, but I may actually have to do another round of this because I underestimated how much was going to go into this. So I want to fill the bag. One of the reasons why I'm using a felt bag is because muslin bags, they're meant for tea, and the items could seep through, but this is only halfway full, like barely halfway full. So I'm probably going to do another round of this after I charge this up. I'm not going to do it on camera though. I'll do it later. So that's what this looks like. And then the clear quartz is meant for two things. It's meant to enhance everything that's going on in here, but it's also meant to pull out the negative energy. The last thing I'm going to do, and I am going to do it off of camera, is I'm going to write a petition that is going to go in the bag. Now, this is just a piece of paper, it's blank, that I just ripped for an example. When I do the petition, I'm going to write very specifically what I want for him, and then I'm folding it away from me. I know I'm folding it towards you, but I'm folding it away from me, and I'm turning it counterclockwise again, folding it away from me, turning it counterclockwise, folding it away from me, turning it counterclockwise, because we're not trying to bring in illness. We're trying to send it away, and then I'll pack it up in here. The very last thing I'm going to show you guys is, because it is a bag, a mojo bag, a satchel, whatever you want to call it, a gree bag. I know every different culture uses a different terminology, but because it is a pouch, right, it needs to be reactivated. It's not like candle magic where you burn the candle out and then you dispose of the remains of whatever's left over from the spell. You actually need to continue to feed the energy of this bag, kind of like the way you would a poppet or a doll. So I had them pick up this health and healing ointment. It's conditioning oil from the House of Hoodoo as well. And now I'm not advertising House of Hoodoo because they are very expensive. I don't personally know them, but I do know that I've purchased some of their products and was very happy with that in the past. So this is just a little healing oil that he can put on himself, but he will also need to dab it on the outside of the bag, or open up the bag and dab it on, add a drop on the inside of the bag occasionally to keep this going. And that is it. That is the entirety of this little spell. I'm going to sit and meditate with it. I'm going to be charging it on my altar until I give it to him. And that will be, and then his job will be to charge it up himself once I give it to him. This is meant to heal and banish any illnesses that he has had, and he's had a couple of different things going on with him that there's some concern about. So I'm not going to get into any of what specifics it is, but that should help. Now, I've never done this specific healing spell before on somebody, so I was sharing it with you for the very first time, and we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see each other again soon. Bye.